Hi, good evening. I'd also like to add my acknowledgement that we're still on the land of the Wurundjeri people. And of course, if you ever wanted an example of why, it is so important if you want social policy and you want change in the relationship between the law, you'd actually have to say that the only rights and the only way that the Aboriginal people in this country have been treated well is when the law has actually carved them out that right. So from where I start, and certainly as someone who's only lived in this country 11 years, it's a good place by acknowledging that this is the land of the Wurundjeri people and of the Kulin Nation. I'm going to just, I've got 15 minutes to be provocative, and that's going to be really difficult for me. I've not done that for a while. So I'm going to try and be a little bit provocative, and I thought, well, the way of doing that is to really just ignore facts for 15 minutes, forget facts. Just, be absolutely emotional about this, let yourself go, Nick, go crazy. And then I thought, but, and just make it up. Just make it up and make a case out of nothing. And then I thought, well, actually, that's what you do every day. So maybe I should think of doing something different. So I want to just tell three little stories. And really, it's just the stories about the power of law. You see, I've spent most of my life either in business or in the not-for-profit sector. I've most of my life been doing business or working in the not-for-profit sector to create social change. So it's, as a social entrepreneur, my use of the market has always been to deliver some kind of other outcome. So I'm really interested in, how you get that and how you do it. But one of the things that I found is it's incredibly difficult to create change. When I was at the Brotherhood of St. Lawrence and its CEO for 5 years, we employed 700 people, had a turnover of $40 million. We'd started in North Fitzroy, just across the road from the flats. When Father Tucker started it 70 years ago, there were 80% unemployment in North Fitzroy. If you go across the road now and ask in the flats what the unemployment is, it's 80%. Now, the difference was when the Brotherhood started, he was doing it and he was earning nothing and there was only one of him. 70 years later, there were 400 of us, and I was earning $125,000 a year. Somebody was doing well out of poverty. Now, that's frightening. That's a very contentious point, isn't it? It's like, how do we create change? And do we create change? And do we get into places where we're comfortable? And then do we consider hard enough whether we're part of the problem or part of the solution? And are we, if we even dare think that we might be part of the problem, are we willing to change? Or actually, are we hooked in to doing it the way that we do it and liking the way we do it? Now, I also would say it was 5 years working at the Brotherhood of Science was, an extraordinary honor in my life to be working around 400 people that every single day got up because they really wanted to improve the lives of others. That doesn't mean, though, that every day we managed it. So 3 brief stories. One is at the Brotherhood of St. Lawrence. We just did lots and lots of different things. But one day I went to work, and as I'm walking through to work, I got there early. It was about just before 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're in North Fitzroy. And as I walk across the steps, I'm trying to get into them, but there's a woman, young woman, she's early 20s. She's sat on the steps and she's shooting up. So she's got a needle and she's going to put it in her arm, and I'm just about to step over her, and I'm going, oh, what do you do? And I've spent 20 years, at that point I spent 15 years working with homeless people. I've spent a lot of time with people who have been rehabilitated from drugs, in drugs, people with AIDS. I'm thinking, this is cool, except it's on my way. It's my office, it's the step. And there was something extraordinarily confronting about that. What do I do, And so I said to her, look, I don't think it's safe to do that here. There's going to be a lot of people coming in. Why don't you just come inside? So at that point, I've just taken the job. I'm Father Nic Frances, MBE, CEO of the Brotherhood of St. Lawrence, taking heroin user off the street and putting inside. And I'm thinking, well, I can't leave her in reception. And just inside, for those of you who know the Brotherhood building, there used to be a chapel. I'm thinking the only place where we're not going to get people walking by right now is the chapel. So now Father Nic's taking user into room and saying, this will be all right. Now, personally, as a priest who didn't really believe in God, I thought it was a perfect place to be. It's quiet, it's safe. This is the right spot to be doing this activity. But, can you imagine the Herald Sun story? This was not the risk that you should be taking for an organization that relies on credibility. But then Father Tucker never would have started an organization, I think, to do anything else. So I then think this is absolutely incredible. So I go upstairs and say, we got to, can somebody come and help? And I'm chatting to this girl. I'm chatting to her, I spent a couple of hours, I'm chatting to her, and I'm saying, what's the thing? And she says, I want to get off, I can't get off. I can't get off because I can't get on a methadone program. And I know about these things. I know about these things because every single day I'm the CEO of this organization. But she can't get on a methadone program. I'm saying that's ridiculous. And I know the CEO of the drugs center just around the corner. So I pick up the phone and say, excuse me, can we just get this guy on a methadone program? She said, well, we can try, but, you won't get one. And I'm saying, well, what do you mean? Methadone is a legal right. If you get a prescription, you can just get on a methadone program. You've got to find a pharmacist that will take it. And actually, pharmacists won't take them all, and they don't like them. Most pharmacists don't like having users come to their shop because it puts off the other customers. I'm saying, hold on a minute. She's a methadone user. She wants to get off. She's just told me that if she doesn't score again today, she's going to go back to St Kilda. She's 20 years of age. She's this young kid, and she says, well, I've got to go back and work tonight. So I've got a young woman, wants to get off, who's now going to go back on the streets, might die tonight, and it's all too bloody close. I'm meant to be the CEO. I'm meant to be safe. I can't get on a program. So I create a campaign, get thousands of letters, go and see John Thwaites, who's the minister at the moment, sit down with him. He says, will you stop asking for a campaign? It's their legal right. I said, but nobody can get it. He said, well, I can't do anything about that. Pharmacists don't like it. There's an action there. Somebody needs to say, if you want a bloody pharmacy shop and you want to sell drugs and you want to do it in Brighton, you've got to be bloody well willing to have a Brighton kid who's a user come in and get the prescription they need so they don't have to go down the road and sell their body on the streets. Now, I couldn't do it politically. I had 400 employees, hundreds of thousands of people willing to sign bits of paper, but actually nothing changed. I tried for 2 days. That girl came back the next day. She came back the next day for help. I never got her on a methadone program. I don't know whether she's alive or dead. There's incredible opportunity for using the law to create rights in places where there should be rights. It should not be okay to go to the Mercy Hospital, somebody doesn't speak English, and actually you need a D&C because actually you just had a miscarriage, but not get that information because actually the Mercy Hospital don't like the thought that you can have that. The fact that it's a legal right and they take federal money to actually deliver those services is not appropriate in my view. So somebody should sue them, I think. Maybe you can't, don't know. The other thing is that I'm in the climate change space. And in the climate change space, sorry, I'm just watching my time. In the climate change space, there is nothing happening in America. I started a business, we started 3 years ago. We were doing mass action on climate change. It was doing really, really well. And then all of a sudden, 6 months before Copenhagen, everyone stopped because they thought, God, it's all going to change, so we've got to stop doing activity, we'll wait. So I stopped doing anything in the world. We were doing action. We're just an action business. Action on climate change, doing things, not talking about it, not discussing, not campaigning, just action. So the action stopped, so the money dried up. The profits we made for the first 2 years, I started now spending those profits. That was about $6 million and 2.5 years ago. There's now none left. Nothing has happened since then because there is no target. And particularly there's no action because of two countries that are really behaving very poorly in this space. One is us and the other is the Americans. It seems like we're a very different size, but actually we're very important in this debate and we haven't acted. What's fascinating is in America, there was no action and nothing to happen until, I actually brought this, I thought I could have a little bit of fact here. I'm not very good at facts. But. So the background to this is Section 202A, in brackets 1, of the Clean Air Act in the USA requires that the EPA set emission standards for any air pollutant. However, in 2003, the EPA made two determinations. The EPA lacked authority under the Clean Air Act to regulate carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases for climate change purposes. Even if the EPA did have such authority, it would decline to set global greenhouse gas emissions standards for vehicles. They say they did that under pressure from ExxonMobil. I don't know that would be true. Interesting that Massachusetts versus our Environmental Protection Agency in 2007 overturned that, and now because of that act, you can legally enforce action on climate change. You can't create a carbon credit, but there is action, and more significant action, and a clean tech industry in America that we do not have here. Why? Legal action. We have not been able to get that politically. Obama said there are two things I'm coming to do. He's only made one of them, and he's now losing his job. It's like he's not managed the other one, but the law managed it. So my last bit of story, I'm doing really well for time here. I'm right on me. I'm going to you're okay. We're going to be in.